climate and native fungi here in the UK play a vital role in our ecosystems, but when they move into people's homes, they can cause serious problems. Those in rented accommodation are especially likely to be affected by damp and mould. It's estimated that 3.6% of private sector rented properties have Category 1 damp and mould hazards. According to our survey, 73% of students had damp or mould in their rented accommodation, and of those, 77% believed their health had been affected. Mould can be caused by a wide variety of fungi. They form when spores in the air germinate on a food source called a substrate. A mycelial network forms throughout the substrate, and eventually the release of spores continues the life cycle. Moulds require specific conditions to grow. These include a relative humidity greater than 75%, a temperature between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius, and a substrate such as cellulose, a ubiquitous building material used in mortar and adhesives. Mould infestations are an increasing issue for buildings with damp and poor ventilation. Exposure to mould can cause a range of symptoms. Moulds can be split into 3 categories based on their effects on health. Allergenic moulds are not toxic in themselves but can trigger allergic reactions such as asthma. Pathogenic moulds can trigger illnesses in vulnerable people. If spores enter the lungs, this can cause potentially lethal infections in immunocompromised people. Toxigenic moulds release toxins that can be harmful if inhaled or ingested over an extended period, leading to respiratory problems, fatigue, and anxiety or depression in severe cases. The very young and elderly and those with existing conditions or compromised immune systems are more likely to be affected. In December 2020, 2-year-old Awab Ishaq died as a direct result of mould exposure after the landlord and housing association responsible for his home failed to act on his parents' concerns about the condition of their flat. Following his tragic and preventable death, over 175,000 people signed a petition to bring in Awab's Law, legislation that would ensure social landlords were forced to act within specified time periods. The law has become part of the Social Housing Regulation Act 2023 and is expected to come into force in April 2024. The government stated that every person across this country deserves to live in a home that is safe, warm, and dry, and has pledged that the decent home standard will be reviewed and applied to private rented homes for the first time. The party responsible for fixing damp and mould in rented accommodation is dependent on several factors. If the damp is caused by problems with the construction of the house, such as a leaky roof, or is rising from the ground into the walls, then it is the landlord's responsibility to repair. If the damp is caused by condensation, for example from drying clothes indoors or placing furniture close to external walls, the tenant can be held responsible. However, if there is inadequate ventilation, heating, or extraction, the landlord must resolve these issues to help deal with the condensation. In order to improve awareness of damp and mould, we suggest a simple guide available for all landlords, letting agent and tenants to download, highlighting how damp and mould can be prevented and who is responsible for different aspects of damp and mould. This could help prevent problems before they start. In addition, we believe Awab's Law must be extended beyond social housing to include private tenancies, making landlords legally bound to investigate problems within 14 days and to start repairs within 7 days when a significant risk to the health and safety of the tenant is identified.